listening to Speaking with One Voice with Rodney Payne. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, topics you'd like discussed on the show, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at rpayne@onevoiceinc.org. That's rpayne@onevoiceinc.org. You can also search for us on Acast, Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Just look for Speaking with One Voice. Now, here's your host, Rodney Payne.
Hello and welcome to Speaking with One Voice. I am your host, the coach, Rodney Payne. We are super excited to be back with you again this week for another episode of Speaking with One Voice, the podcast devoted to adding value to you and your leadership team. You know, I am grateful for you being here. I'm grateful for you showing up week after week, giving us the opportunity to add value to you and your team. Thank you for liking our podcast, rating it, and subscribing. Thank you we're seeing a lot of traction on our YouTube channel for that. We're grateful. So I want you to do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe. Click the little bell so you know when we're coming on, and you can get the fresh, new, and latest content that we have available for you. As always, we love the opportunity to help you in your business. You can find out more information about how we do that at rodneyrpayne.com, rodneyrpayne.com. All of our social media handles at rodneyrpayne. Make sure you're connected, and let's keep growing together. Now, today I want to talk about a topic, and this one, it's not a fun topic. It's not a fun topic. As a matter of fact, if we're not careful, it could trigger some things, but it's so necessary that we really take some time to dig into this. So today I want to talk about resilience, leading through adversity. Resilience, leading through adversity. Now, what we know is that leadership is difficult. Leadership can be traumatic. It can be triumphant. It can be great. But at the end of the day, the leader never enjoys the success as much as everyone else, but always feels more pain than anyone else feels when it doesn't go well. So as a leader, you're going to have many opportunities to tap out. You'll have many opportunities to throw in the towel. You'll have many opportunities to abandon ship, but you won't do that. Why? Because you're a leader. And as a leader, you're built for this. You know, you knew the cost when you got involved. The reason you're in leadership is because you couldn't stop from being in leadership. You tried to get around it. You tried to work your way in the background, and it just wouldn't work. There are some people, you're one of them, who are just built to lead. So when we talk about this thing, resilience and adversity, these words, resilience, I'm going to get into those a little bit, but really, anytime you hear the word, the prefix re, it means you got to do over. It means you got to do it again. So it means that this is going to hit you for a second time or a third time. So when we look at resilience in leadership contextually, what it means is that you have the ability to quickly recover from setbacks and maintain your focus on your goals and your desired outcomes. So when you see the term resilience, what that means is you're going to have a setback. You're not going to get to where you were on your way to as quickly as you would like to. You're going to have obstacles in the road. You're going to have naysayers. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have things that will not be fun to endure. You're going to think you're on top of the mountain one day, and the next day you'll be in the bottom of the valley. This is a part of leadership. But the question is not, will we face challenges? The question is, how quickly will we recover from these challenges? That's what it means. So how quickly you recover determines whether you have a recovery system. See, because the ultimate goal is to maintain my focus on my goals, to maintain my focus on the outcome that I desire. But when I have a setback, what is my recovery system? So when I think about recovering, what I want you to think about from this perspective is, listen, do you have a recovery system? As athletes, listen, I watch a lot of sports, and I used to not understand basketball in particular, that during the game, the star players are sitting on the bench, and they're going to go back in the game. But what they have is they have these big, gigantic ice packs wrapped around their knees. I couldn't understand. You spend all of your time before the game stretching and getting warmed up, and then you put ice on your knees while you're going to go back in the game and play. I could not understand it until I understood that ice is an anti-inflammatory. And when you don't have inflammation, you don't have pain. So they're actually doing recovery while playing the game so that they can be at their best when they're on the floor. Now, so when we talk about this recovery, I think that as leaders, we have to build in a certain amount of prevention that will serve as pre-recovery, if you will, so that we're recovering all along. This is going into the self-care space. What do you do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually to make sure that you are at your best? Because what I know is when you're fatigued, when you're tired, when you've burned the candle at both ends, you are more susceptible to infection. You're more susceptible to catching a virus because your immune system is beat down because you've not protected yourself. You've gone so hard for so long that now you're finding yourself in this challenging situation. How does this relate to resilience? Well, we have challenges, but when we're at our best, it wouldn't be a big deal. But when we're weakened, when we've been struggling, when one thing after another, one problem after another, one challenge after another keeps coming over and over again, what might not be a very big deal for us becomes a blow up, not because it was a big deal, but because we haven't done enough to prepare for it and we hadn't fully recovered from the previous times. So I want to just get some practical things here on the table for you. You need to have a day, one day, every week, non-negotiable, where what you do is take care of yourself. Now, many people say they have a day off. They fill the day off doing work that they like. So they feel like that they're getting rest. No, no, no. When I say a day off, I mean don't work. Exactly. Don't work. I mean, don't go in. Don't just do what you like. Don't make it a hobby that requires you to have to work hard and all these. At some point in your recovery, you have to have rest. Rest. I mean, you can never be a resilient leader if you're unwilling to rest. I hope this is making sense to you because we're really talking about the ability to recover quickly. Well, I can't recover quickly if I don't rest. And so, yes, I have to hit it. It's part of it. I know you don't want to hear this. Just grit your teeth and listen anyway. Diet, exercise, sleep. Every leader needs to prioritize these things in their lives. You don't get to wait until, I mean, you'll lay down eventually. I've been there where I got so sick I couldn't handle it. And so when I got sick, guess what? Here's the thing. When you get sick because you're not taking care of yourself, because you're not resting, because you're not eating right, everything that you thought could not go on without you, which is why you were so committed in the first place and a great leader, it somehow managed to get done without you. It somehow managed to survive without getting done. It wasn't the end of the world, and because you couldn't do anything about it. I remember I had a client last year, and oh man, I woke up on the day of the event, and I don't call in sick. I show up for work. That's one of my commitments to myself. It's not about bragging about it. It's not priding myself in it. I just grew up in a day and age when you are supposed to work, you work. And this day, oh, I felt awful. And I tried everything I could to get myself together. But what I knew was that in the condition I was in, the work I was going to be able to do that day would be subpar, period, end of discussion. So I had to call in. I said, now listen, I can't come in. I cannot make it to the engagement I've committed to do with you today. I could do it virtually, but I'm telling you, I'm just not well. Is there any way that we can reschedule? Well, they were gracious and they rescheduled. And so when we rescheduled, it went off great. But the reason I couldn't do it was because I hadn't pre-rested. I wasn't prepared. So I gave myself to so much that I get myself to the point of exhaustion so that I was sick. I was tired. I just could not get it together. Had I considered this, diet, exercise. What's the third one? Sleep. If I do those things, I'm in a much better position to go to work later. So you have to prioritize this, and that's how you recover quickly, by putting systems in place that ensure that you get off and take care of your body. I've probably shared this with you before. Let me share it again. A few years back, I had a horrific back injury. So much so that I was in a wheelchair crawling, and my daughter's driving me around for 6 weeks. I couldn't function. I never missed a speaking engagement, but I was always in pain. And so because of that, I went through rehab and physical therapy and was able to get back in shape. I was able to get my body back right. Well, since that time, I literally do something to affect the strength and conditioning of my body, my mind, and my back every single day, because I never want to be in that position again. I want to always be able to quickly recover if something does happen, so I prepare for it in advance. So as we think about this, I want you to make sure that you understand resilience is going to help you to always be able to maintain focus on your goals. Now, let's talk about the link between resilience and performance. Resilience and performance. What we've found is that businesses led by resilient leaders can outperform competitors by up to 50% in downturns or downturning situations. That's a Harvard Business Review. In other words, when we have a leader that is resilient, when everything else is declining, even the resilient leader is experiencing decline, they still perform at a 50% better rate than everybody else. So that means that winners always find a way to win. Even in a downturn, they're up. Why? Because of their resilience. Can you recover quickly? Can you focus on goals? There are times you're going to have to make decisions. There are times that you're going to have to make personnel decisions. There are times you're going to have to let one of your team members check out to keep moving. But when you're resilient, when faced with a challenge, what you're going to do is position your brand for continued success, building a thriving brand that leaves a legacy and an indelible mark. Why is that? Because you have to be able to get back up. Now, here's the thing. You have to anticipate when it's going to come. I'm not saying you should live in fear of obstacles and fear of challenges. What I'm saying is you have to be able to prepare yourself for the reality that we're not going to always win. We're not going to always win. It's not going to always be our best, but we have to be resilient. I had a chance to hear Jesse Cole, the owner of the Savannah Bananas. I heard him speak, and he said that the baseball team that's comedic and they have a great time. He said his dad told him, because he was a baseball player, his dad told him every time he went up to bat, he said it wasn't very good, but his dad said, swing hard just in case you hit it. I love that approach. He said, swing hard just in case you hit it. And I think that that's what resilience is all about, because the fact that you've struck out before, but you're willing to go back to that plate, that's the resilience, right? So the resilience says, if I'm going to go back to the plate, the goal is to get a hit. So I can't swing like I'm not going to get a hit. I got to swing hard just in case I hit it. I love it. So make sure that you understand the link between resilience and performance. Those who are resilient perform better than those who are not. Those who are resilient come back and keep swinging hard just in case they hit it. Those who are resilient keep showing up even though they found failure before. Those who are resilient have been told you're not going to make it, but they keep showing up anyway. They believe in the dream. They believe in the desired outcome. They believe in the team. I know that you're a resilient leader. Keep showing up and understand that it will show up in your performance. Now I've told you all this stuff, right? Now, what are we going to do with it? What do we do with the fact of this resilient things? You are listening to Speaking with One Voice with your host, the coach, Rodney Payne, here to add value to you and your leadership team each and every week. Thank you for being in the room. Thank you for sharing this, liking this, rating this podcast, and subscribing it. Let's get back to resilience, leading through adversity. Now, we've learned what it is, right? Now, and we've learned how it performs, but how do we actually get to where we do that? We have to develop some strategies for being a resilient leader. So to be a resilient leader, there are some things that we alluded to early on that we now have to put some process to. We've got to put this thing together so that you kind of get the nuts and bolts of it. First thing is in strategy. When it comes to resiliency, you have to understand that resilience is it's a physical response, but it's guided by the strength of our mental toughness. That's what it's guided by. So we have to have some techniques. The number one thing that takes leaders out is, you guessed it, you would probably say it's time, but I've got one bigger than time. It's not time, it's stress. Oh my goodness. If you're going to have a plan for being resilient, you have to learn how to manage your stress. How do you blow off steam? What do you do to give yourself that quiet space? And understand, there is no right way for everybody. There's a right way for you. You have to know yourself and know what works for you. For me, I have to be careful because one of the things that helps me when I'm stressed, oh, I'm sorry to admit this, I'm embarrassed. A good meal goes a long way in helping me feel better. The problem with the good meal is all good meals have gravy, right? All good meals have bread, right? All good meals have starches, carbs, potatoes, and rice, and some type of grease. Yes, no, that goes against my health and wellness goals. So I have to figure out, how do I deal with stress? Well, for me, I start my day stress-free. I start my day stress-free. How do I do that? I protect the top of my day. Why do I protect the top of my day? Because one, it's when I'm most productive. Two, I've heard it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But how I finish is predicated on how I start. So I protect that time. I don't let people in that space. And I use that time for my physical wellness, my emotional wellness. And I take time even in my diet. So I want to have a nice light breakfast. I want to have time to consider my thoughts and map out my day. I want to have time where I'm not answering the phone or responding. Why? Because I'm in a controlled environment. And in that time, I am not going to be stressed. I'm not going to be stressed. In that time, I'm really careful about my consumption. I consume things that are going to build me up and strengthen me. I consume things that are going to give my mind the space that it needs to work. That's important. So that's one technique that I use. But what you have to do is, one, take care of your stress management. Number two is you got to maintain perspective. I am a visionary. I am a big picture guy. And so when I start getting into the weeds, well, that's what happens that causes me stress. Now that hampers my ability to be resilient. So I have to maintain perspective. Keeping things in perspective. Don't let a molehill, as they say, become a mountain. Don't let something that wouldn't ordinarily make you jump off the deep end make you jump off the deep end today. Understand that. Stop responding. I know now we're using messaging and some people are using email. We're using voice tech. Some people are doing AI. We're doing all kinds of ways to communicate. But one of the things that I've adopted when email first became a thing, when email was email and it started out, I learned this. You can't recall an email. There are things that tell you that you can, but I'm telling you, when you press send, when you put it out in that e-universe, you really can't get it back. So what I started doing was I stopped responding to email when I was agitated. You wouldn't use that word, frustrated. You wouldn't use that word, irritated. You wouldn't use that word. Well, when something brought me discomfort that I wanted to go back and express myself through written communication, I stopped even putting it in an email. Don't hit reply. I copy the email they sent me, I put it in a document, and I reply in the document to myself. Then I save it, and then I come back to it when I am not so irritated, agitated, frustrated, those things you're not. And then I read it afterwards and see, is this really what I wanted to communicate? Did I do it the best way? See, this helps me to keep perspective. Is this as big a deal as I'm making it? Does it really matter? If it doesn't matter, why am I addressing it? If it's a principle thing, does it need to be addressed right now? Because sometimes we confuse principle with power. It's just on principle. No, you just want somebody to know you're in charge. That's not leadership. We're servants. Leaders serve. So when you begin to put these strategies in place and so you say, I'm going to deal with my stress and I'm going to maintain my perspective. The key word in both of those is my. My goes back to a previous episode on accountability. When I'm accountable, I'm not going to blame you for stressing me. I'm going to position myself to not be stressed by you, which means I can't do it alone. I must have a network. I have to have a network. I have to have people around me. I have to have a support system. Now, I have a very, very small inner circle, but my inner circle is empowered to correct me. My inner circle is empowered to challenge me. My inner circle is expected to comfort me. See, they know when I need a hug and they know when I need to be corrected. So that's why I have that support system, because support systems can help me to have a more clear perspective. I have one client that I work with on a regular basis, and when I share with them an alternative perspective, they say to me, I would have never considered that. I just couldn't see it like that. But when they see it like that, it modifies how they respond, and they ultimately become more resilient. That's what I want us to understand. That's what's important, is we have to understand that no matter what you're going through, you have to have a way, a strategy for dealing with your whole resilience thing, stress management, perspective, and a support system. See, data on resilience outcomes during crises. Let's think about this. Resilience only really matters in the midst of a crisis. But organizations with resilient cultures are 65% more likely to succeed in difficult times. That's from McKinsey. That is so, listen, if you're resilient, you will not quit. You won't go away. That's what happens. Teams that win, they just don't quit. Now, I'm going way back. There's a quarterback. I think his name was Tom Brady. He was in the Super Bowl. He was playing against this team called the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seahawks have the ball on the goal line, and they have beast mode right in the background, Marshawn Lynch. And it's nearing the end of the game. A touchdown seals the game. There's no room, no time for Brady magic. He can't come in and save the day. He's been a superhero. And guess what happens? Because the Patriots are resilient, they're in the right defense, and they're expecting to be able to make a play. And everything happened. People blame Seattle. They called a play they thought would work. Well, whatever happened, Russell Wilson throws this quick slant route to the right-hand side, and the ball is intercepted. When the ball is intercepted, guess who wins the game? The New England Patriots. Did they win the game because they worked harder? Did they win the game because they were the better team? Did they win the game because they were in the best position to win the game? No, they won the game because they didn't quit. They were resilient. That's what you can do. You can win the game when you don't quit. I need you to understand, every successful leader has overcome challenges by being resilient. That means they respond quickly, they recover quickly, they overcome that situation, and they stay focused on their goals. You, my friend, you're that kind of leader. I believe in you. I want to thank you for having the courage to stick in with this one. I know this is a bit difficult, but your resiliency will take you to the next level. This is so good. I wish I could keep going, but I am out of time. I want to thank you once again for being in the room. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for adding this to your value add diet, because we appreciate the opportunity and don't take it for granted. Listen, you've been listening to Speaking with One Voice with your host, the coach, Rodney Payne. Thank you for liking, subscribing, rating, and following us. Thank you. We love hearing from you. Keep reaching out to us. And also, if we can help you, we have strategies. We can help you develop strategies of your own. Visit us at rodneyrpayne.com. Set up a free clarifying strategy session there at rodneyrpayne.com. We'll get together. We'll talk about what's best for your organization, how we might be able to serve you and help you to become a more resilient leader. That's all for my time. You've been listening to Speaking with One Voice with your host, the coach, Rodney Payne. Until next time, my friends, let's keep growing together.
You've been listening to Speaking with One Voice. Please remember to follow Rodney Payne on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Rodney R. Payne. We'd love to hear from you and get your feedback, so please feel free to leave us comments. And if you would, rate and subscribe to the podcast We'd appreciate that as well. Don't forget to set up for notifications so you can get the latest updates and social media posts and get new podcasts when they're released. As always, use the hashtag Speaking with One Voice or simply SWOV on any of your social media posts. On behalf of Rodney Payne, thanks again for listening.